seems to me like compassion is when you realize that you're not so separated from this other person and that their suffering kind of reverberates. I've been playing the gong a lot. It reminds me of, it's almost like you're the gong and they're the striker. Like you can feel their energy. And it's a way of recognizing the connection you have between you and that other person, you and maybe even you and a tree that you see that's suffering, or yeah, it's not just about humans for sure.
It was about a boy who found a bunch of plants. They were almost dead, and he wanted to help them. So the next day he came back to those plants and he watered them. He helped them come alive, and then it actually spreaded to the whole city. All those plants, they spreaded around the city, and it just spreaded, and everybody, and not just those spreaded, not just the plants spreaded, people spreaded to grow gardens and stuff like that.
At first glance, I think about compassion as being like empathy, but that's not exactly what it is. Often we find ourselves like struggling to be kind to others, to place ourselves in the circumstances of others, and to create a understanding for others that would allow us to be better friends with them and to love them. And so like empathy goes along with people that you know, like very well. I can be empathetic to people that I know very well. But am I compassionate to all? And that's a good question that I always ask myself. Am I truly looking at the suffering of others and saying, is this my suffering or is it their suffering? Do I live on a planet with other people, or do I live by myself, all alone? I think compassion is something that is world embracing. It should be. Especially since, I don't know, I believe in God, and I look at the world and I say, well, why did God place us on this earth? He placed us so that we could be kind to one another, to show compassion to one another, to all. There are many things about that I could go into, but compassion is world embracing. And it means that everybody deserves to be understood and to be cared for.
I think compassion, it's hard to define, but it's the simple act of giving that really defines compassion for me. If you can give someone a moment of happiness, if you can give someone joy, even in a small task like helping someone cross the street, that's compassion. It doesn't need to be something huge. But the more you spread love and happiness, I think that's what compassion is.
My definition of compassion has to do with the ability to actively engage in and be present with the suffering of others. So it has to do with both an empathy for other people, and then there's like an active side of compassion, which is hopefully trying to alleviate the suffering of others. But the opposite of compassion would be like an avoidance to the suffering of others and shutting down with that, which is also an empathy response in a way, because if you feel empathy towards someone else, maybe you don't want to experience that pain that person is feeling, so you might turn away. But in my opinion, a compassionate response would be to move towards that and work to alleviate suffering.
I think compassion is when you simply care about someone else, and when you see someone else and you feel for them like you would feel for yourself, whether it's your family member, your kids, or just like how you would want to be treated. So when you see somebody going through a hard time, it doesn't hurt or cost anything to feel for them or show them some compassion, maybe say something to them, just give them a moment to let them know someone cares about them and have compassion for what they're going through at the time, because we all go through good and bad times, and when it's someone else's bad time, it's good to be compassionate and show them some love.